song for a colored singer. The washing hangs upon the line, but it's not mine. None of the things that I can see belong to me. The neighbors got a radio with an aerial. We got a little portable. They got a lot of closet space. We got a suitcase. I say, Leroy, just how much are we owing? Something I can't comprehend. The more we got, the more we spend. He only answers, let's get going. Leroy, you're earning too much money now. I sit and look at our backyard and find it very hard that all we got for all his dollars and cents a pile of bottles by the fence. He's faithful and he's kind, but he sure has an inquiring mind. He's seen a lot. He's bound to see the rest. And if I protest, Leroy will answer with a frown, darling, when I earns, I spends. The world is wide. It still extends. I'm going to get a job in the next town. Leroy, you're earning too much money now. Jeronimo's house. My house, my fairy palace, is of perishable clapboards with 3 rooms in all. My gray wasp's nest of chewed-up paper glued with spit. My home, my love nest, is endowed with a veranda of wooden lace, adorned with ferns planted in sponges, and the front room with red and green leftover Christmas decorations loops from the corners to the middle above my little center table of woven wicker painted blue, and 4 blue chairs and an affair for the smallest baby with a tray with 10 big beads. Then on the walls 2 palm leaf fans and a calendar, and on the table 1 fried fish spattered with burning scarlet sauce, a little dish of hominy grits and 4 pink tissue paper roses. Also I have hung on a hook an old French horn repainted with aluminum paint. I play each year in the parade for Jose Marti. At night you'd think my house abandoned. Come closer. You can see and hear the writing paper lines of light and the voices of my radio singing flamencos in between the lottery numbers. When I move, I take these things and no more from my shelter from the hurricane. The colder the air. We must admire her perfect aim, this huntress of the winter air whose level weapon needs no sight. If it were not that everywhere her game is sure, her shot is right. The least of us could do the same. The chalky birds or boats stand still, reducing her conditions of chance. Air's gallery marks identically the narrow gallery of her glance. The target center in her eye is equally her aim and will. Time's in her pocket, ticking loud on 1 stall second. She'll consult not time nor circumstance. She calls an atmosphere for her result. It is this clock that later falls in wheels and chimes of leaf and cloud. Late air. From a magician's midnight sleeve, the radio singers distribute all their love songs over the dew-wet lawns. And like a fortune teller's, their marrow-piercing guesses are whatever you believe. But on the Navy Yard aerial, I find better witnesses for love on summer nights. 5 remote red lights keep their nests there. Phoenixes burning quietly where the dew cannot climb. Seascape. This celestial seascape with white herons got up as angels, flying as high as they want and as far as they want sidewise in tiers and tiers of immaculate reflections. The whole region, from the highest heron down to the weightless mangrove island, with bright green leaves edged neatly with bird draw frothing like illumination in silver, and down to the suggestively Gothic arches of the mangrove roots and the beautiful pea-green back pasture where occasionally a fish jumps like a wildflower in an ornamental spray of spray. This cartoon by Raphael for a tapestry for a pope, it does look like heaven, but a skeletal lighthouse standing there in black and white clerical dress, who lives on his nerves, thinks he knows better. He thinks that hell rages below his iron feet, that is why the shallow water is so warm. And he knows that heaven is not like this. Heaven is not like flying or swimming, but has something to do with blackness and a strong glare. And when it gets dark, he will remember something strongly worded to say on the subject. Anaphora. Each day with so much ceremony begins with birds, with bells, with whistles from factories. Such white gold skies our eyes first open on, such brilliant walls that for a moment we wonder, where is the music coming from, the energy? The day was meant for what ineffable creature we must have missed. Oh, promptly he appears and takes his earthly nature instantly falls, victim of long intrigue, assuming memory and mortal fatigue. More slowly falling into sight and showering into stippled faces, darkening, condensing all his light. In spite of all the dreaming squandered upon him with that look, suffers our uses and abuses, sinks through the drift of bodies, sinks through the drift of classes, to evening, to the beggar in the park, who, weary, without lamp or book, prepares stupendous studies, the fiery event of every day in endless ascent. The fish. I caught a tremendous fish and held him beside the boat half out of water, with my hook fast in the corner of his mouth. He didn't fight, he hadn't fought at all. He hung a grunting weight, battered and venerable and homely. Here and there his brown skin hung in strips like ancient wallpaper, and its pattern of darker brown was like wallpaper. Shapes like full-blown roses, stained and lost through age. He was speckled with barnacles, fine rosettes of line, and infested with tiny white sea lice, and underneath 2 or 3 rags of green weed hung down. While his gills were breathing in the terrible oxygen, frightening gills fresh and crisp with blood that can cut so badly, I thought of the coarse white flesh packed in like feathers, the big bones and the little bones, the dramatic reds and blacks of his shiny entrails, and the pink swim bladder like a big peony. I looked into his eyes, which were far larger than mine, but shallower, and yellowed, the irises backed and packed with tarnished tin foil, seen through lenses of old scratched isinglass. They shifted a little, but not to return my stare. It was more like the tipping of an object toward the light. I admired his sullen face, the mechanism of his jaw, and then I saw that from his lower lip, if you could call it a lip, grim, wet, and weapon-like, hung 5 old pieces of fish line, or 4, and a wire leader with the swivel still attached, with all their 5 big hooks grown firmly in his mouth. A green line, frayed at the end where he broke it, 2 heavier lines, and a fine black thread still crimped from the strain and snap when it broke and he got away. Like medals with their ribbons frayed and wavering, the 5-haired beard of wisdom trailing from his aching jaw. I stared, and victory filled up the little rented boat, from the pool of bills where oil had spread a rainbow around the rusted engine, to the bailer rusted orange, the sun-cracked thwarts, the oarlocks on their strings, the gunnels, until everything song was rainbow, 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 and I let the fish go. Cirque d'hiver. Across the floor flits the mechanical toy, fit for a king of several centuries back, a little circus horse with real white hair. His eyes are glossy black. He bears a little dancer on his back. She stands upon her toes and turns and turns. A slanting spray of artificial roses is stitched across her skirt and tinsel bodice. Above her head she poses another spray of artificial roses. His mane and tail are straight from caraco. He has a formal, melancholy soul. He feels her pink toes dangle toward his back, along a little pole that pierces both her body and her soul, and goes through his, and reappears below under his belly as a big tin key. He canters 3 steps, then he makes a bow, canters again, bows on one knee, canters, then clicks and stops and looks at me. The dancer by this time has turned her back. He is the more intelligent by far. Facing each other rather desperately, his eyes like a star, we stare and say, well, we have come this far. Imaginary Iceberg. We'd rather have the iceberg than the ship, although it meant the end of travel. Although it stood stock still like cloudy rock, and all the sea were moving marble. We'd rather have the iceberg than the ship. We'd rather own this breathing plain of snow, so the ship's sails were laid upon the sea, as the snow lies undissolved upon the water. O solemn, floating field, are you aware an iceberg takes repose with you, and when it wakes may pasture on your snows? This is a scene a sailor gives his eyes for. The ship's ignored. The iceberg rises and sinks again. Its glassy pinnacles correct elliptics in the sky. This is a scene where he who treads the boards is artlessly rhetorical. The curtain is light enough to rise on finest ropes that airy twists of snow provide. The width of these white peaks spar with the sun. Its weight the iceberg dares upon a shifting stage and stands and stares. This iceberg cuts its facets from within. Like jewelry from a grave, it saves itself perpetually and adorns only itself, perhaps the snows which so surprise us lying on the sea. Goodbye, we say, goodbye. The ship steers off where waves give in to one another's waves. The clouds run in a warmer sky. Icebergs behoove the soul, both being self-made from elements least visible, to see them so, fleshed, fair, erected, indivisible. The Gentleman of Shalott. Which eye's his eye? Which limb lies next the mirror? For neither is clearer, nor a different color than the other, nor meets a stranger in this arrangement of leg and arm and so on. To his mind it's the indication of a mirrored reflection somewhere along the line of what we call a spine. He felt in modesty his person was half looking-glass, for why should he be doubled? The glass must stretch down his middle, or rather down the edge. But he's in doubt as to which side's in or out of the mirror. There's little margin for error, but there's no proof either. And if half his head's reflected, thought, he thinks, might be affected. But he's resigned to such economical design. If the glass slips, he's in a fix, only one leg, etc. But while it stays put, he can walk and run, and his hands can clasp one another. The uncertainty, he says he finds exhilarating. He loves that sense of constant readjustment. He wishes to be quoted as saying at present, half's enough.